Title: Sheltered wife tasted the Caribbean locals during a 7 days vacation with her husband. Please hit the thumbs up button to support my channel. It means a lot to me, and it wouldn't cost you anything. Thank you. I am 38 years old, and my wife is 38 as well. We have known each other since we were children and had grown up together, attending the same schools and playing together in the same park. Our families are close as well, and they thought that we were Siamese twins. We known each other so well that we can communicate non-verbally. Which is why I am so shocked to find out that she had been living a double life. I hacked into our Google account and found out that she had been having an affair for 2 years with a colleague and multiple men. They also had just recently split up because she cheated on him with someone else she had met. This comes as a shock to me because I thought that we would spend the rest of our lives together. Just some background about us: we married at 28, bought a house. First child at 29. Second child at 31. We made it to 35 with no problems, great relationship, great sex life. Over a period, she became a bit different, doing things like making weird comments that I took for granted till now. I remember the series of events leading to her strange behaviors. It started a few years after our second child. I believe we were 35 at the time. We went on a vacation in the Caribbean. A friend of hers that lives in another state recently got a divorce and wanted to tag along with us on our vacation. It was just 3 of us, and I felt like I was the third wheel. They excluded me in any of their activities like it was some kind of girls' trip, and I was just tagging along. I didn't mind though because I was working remotely. I had some projects that I was involved at work that requires my input every now and then. The hotel that we were staying in had a casino, so I will go downstairs when I was starting to get bored or call my parent that are babysitting our children while we were on vacation. During the vacation, my wife and her girlfriend were going out every night, and when she comes back to the hotel room we were staying, she would tell me all the nice restaurants they have tried and all the activities they took part in. I didn't feel like I was missing out because the vacation was something I have been promising her for years, because she haven't traveled outside the country before. She had always talked about how life was passing her by and she never had a chance to have fun. Unlike many of her friends that had their share of dating, I was the only one that she had ever been with, and all we did in our 20s was work on our careers, and we didn't take many vacations. I have not been with anyone else but her, and I was totally fulfilled. During the day, we would take a walk on the beach and watch the sunrise. We would have lunch with her girlfriend. During the evening they will both go out. I thought their outing was harmless and I completely trusted her. I didn't even suspect anything, not even years after the vacation. If I recall correctly, it was after we came back from this trip was when she started acting different. On the 4th day of the vacation, which was 2 days before we returned back home, she went out with her friend as usual. They got drunk. Getting drunk was not normal for her, but for her friend, it was another story, so I think her friend got her into drinking. She is a happy drunk, super talkative and friendly. When she came back to the hotel room, she wouldn't stop telling me how her girlfriend was fooling around with one of the locals. She told me that her friend gave him a BJ and he whisked her away to the beach to have sex with her. That night when she was telling me the story, she was giggling and laughing about it. She was glad her friend had fun. I was laughing too because that was uncharacteristic of her friend. Based on the little information I know about her, she didn't mention anything about being involved, and I didn't in my wildest dreams suspected that she did something. She is a married woman and the ring never leave her finger, and I trusted her. What was interesting about her story was the following morning, she denied telling me about her friend performing a BJ on one of the locals or about her friend being whisked away from the bar to the beach nearby to have his way with her. I find it strange that she didn't recall telling me that story, and I regret not interrogating her further about it. I will find out later that she wasn't an innocent bystander of the story. The story did happen, but she intentionally excluded some detail on the part she played. Another incident that I should have seen as a red flag was on our last day at the resort hotel. While we were on the beach, a group of muscular local guys were walking in front of us, and I noticed her staring at them. I didn't think much of it because other people at the beach were staring at the men as well, but what struck me was what she said soon after. She asked me if I have ever thought about being with another person. I looked her wondering why she asked me that question. Then I responded that, yes, I have thought about it and it's only natural, but thinking and acting is different. It was one of the most random and awkward conversations we have had, and that's coming from someone that have known her in the good and bad times. I didn't ask her why she asked me that question, or whether she had thought about being with someone else. I didn't even think about connecting the dots or drawing conclusions till years later after I hacked her Google account. After we came back from the trip, something changed in her. She started behaving differently than usual, doing things such as spending more time away from home, being less communicative, or being more secretive about her schedule or activities. This went on for more than a year, and my family were insistent she had changed a lot and that she might be having an affair, but I was 100% certain it was not a possibility. I even mentioned it to her, and she laughed about it with me. Few years after the trip, she slowly started paying more attention to her appearance, buying new clothes, wearing makeup more often, or changing her hairstyle. She didn't used to drink before, but she slowly started to drink and work or stay out late, claiming she was with her coworkers or her female friends. She would come home sometimes with alcohol in a breath, giggling and acting like a schoolgirl. After a while, the little things built up on me, and I caved and hacked into her Google account. Even as I did it, I hated myself as I knew she couldn't do that, but I needed to prove it to myself. Suffice to say that what I found blew my world apart. She had been having an affair for 2 years with a colleague. They also had just recently split up because she cheated on him with someone else she had met. I also found out that she exchanged text conversations with a local in the Caribbean few months after we returned back home, and even sent him some money. But she stopped responding to his messages years ago. After I saw the evidence that she was having an affair with her work colleague and a new guy, and she was in communication with a man in the Caribbean for months after she returned, it was then that I realized all the red flags over the years. Spending time away from home, less communicative or being more secretive about her activities, her sudden attention to her appearance. I was going crazy, and I didn't want my children to be around when I confront her. I got her parents to pick up the kids, and I tore up our wedding album and scattered it across our kitchen and waited for her to come home. When she got home, I confronted her about her work colleague, and she broke down crying. She admitted that it started by accident, as a one-time thing, and escalated and went out of control, and that she didn't intend for it to go on this long. She swears that it was the only affair that she had, and she ultimately blamed it on me, trying to turn the tables by saying that I may be having an affair that she didn't know about. I responded that I am not the one on the hot seat here, she is. The look on her face changed when I mentioned the trip to the Caribbean. I told her that I know all about it. Even though I only saw the text, I claimed that I called the man and he confirmed everything. That was when she finally came clean on her Caribbean affair. It turns out that her friend wasn't the only one that was blowing the local and having sex of the beach, she was as well. Apparently, the trip to the Caribbean opened her eyes to the experience she never had because she had been with me all her life, hence the question she asked me about thinking about being with other people. I was in panic mode. I didn't believe that the woman I thought I would spend the rest of my life with would do this to me. I will admit, at some point I blamed myself for allowing her to go out with her single friend, but at the end of the day it was up to her to cheat. We made a vow to each other, and she broke it, and it is dangerous for me to think that it was my fault. The woman that I knew is no longer there. She admitted to having a one-night stand with some Caribbean local, and with her work colleague and one other new guy, and those are the ones I know of. That night I couldn't understand what switching her from being a trusted wife to becoming this person that sleeps around. Maybe it had always been her all along and I failed to realize it because I only wanted to see what I want to see. I only saw the good in her. I couldn't stay home that night. She was crying and apologizing, but I knew that she was apologizing because she got caught. I wasn't thinking right. I wanted closure and I wanted her to tell me about other affairs that I don't know about, but she only admits to the ones I already know. I left home and didn't return home for 2 weeks. I feel a lot of shame for my behavior as I should have been there for the kids, but I heavily turned to alcohol. When I went back, I found out she was still texting the new guy she had met. Believe me when I say, I was at the lowest point of my life. I felt powerless, like she was begging me to be with her, but yet she was still in communication with the new guy. I kicked her out of the house, and she left for a week and stayed with a friend and came home and had blocked the guy she was talking to. I told her then I needed full disclosure, and she said she had been in such a haze for a long time that she knew there were other drunken flings, but couldn't say who. When infuriating, she went to the doctor and was diagnosed with depression and medicated for it. She has been more like her old self since then, and I accepted her back to the home just for the sake of having some consistency for the kids, but I know that I would never trust her, and I can't sleep next to a person that have been lying to me for the past 3 years. So, I have now moved out of the family home into my own place until about 2 months later. She's back to her strange behaviors, but now she's kind of messy with her secrets. I confront her, and she opens and says that she saw no point hiding these things from me anymore. I feel heartbroken, but I can't let such things keep happening in my household. I informed her parents again. They are totally disappointed in her and understood my decision to end things with her. She claims that it was because she never dated anybody but me and felt like since she had given me kids and had been faithful up till our second child, she deserves to be forgiven, and I should forgive her for trying to experience a life that she didn't grow up doing. I told her I will give her the freedom she is looking for. I filed for divorce, and we had joint custody of our kids. She makes flirtatious moves towards me sometimes when I go to pick the kids, saying she misses me. But I'm not going to let her mess with me. She's been in multiple relationships, abusive, fruitless ones, and told her parents to plead with me that she made a mistake, but I tell them I'm already in another relationship even if I'm not at the moment because I'm not a toy to be messed with. I still see her several times because we parent the same kids. I am currently single and happy with my job, life, and career. Please hit the thumbs up button to support my channel. It means a lot to me, and it wouldn't cost you anything.